هلو شباب. اليوم باش نعملوا انترفيو مع فيجار في 2 اللي هو الكوتش نتاع الدي في. الانترفيو باش تكون بالانجلي و انا توا باش نبداو، وكان عندكم اسئله من بعديك بالكشي، اما توا ويل فوكس اون في انترفيو. هلو مستر فيجار.
Hello,
هلو how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Nice. I'm doing pretty well. Pretty hyped about this interview. My first. I hope I don't end it. So, can you introduce yourself to the viewers? Like, which teams you worked on, what's your career so far as a coach, etc., etc.
Sure. My name is Marius. I'm from Norway and also known as VeigarV2. I'm coaching. I'm the head coach for DV. I'm also coaching a Norwegian team on the side right now as well, which is called Domino Esport. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice. And how did you get to the MENA scene, and how did you start like coaching in MENA? And overall, what do you think about the region?
Um, I think it was the Nexus Cup thing. I had some friends there, Rust and Wufu, for example. So I was coaching them. We were playing against Yamato Cannon and stuff. We
Yeah,
beat him. I think we made it third place or something.
yep.
It was pretty fun. I have some friends in the scene, so it's like, of course, my main work is coaching like LEC or LCS teams, but not like in off season. There's always these kind of like tournaments that are fun to coach and be part of because I have friends playing. So yeah.
And now that you're on DV, I know you also started in DV in Nexus. What's exactly your role in DV, and what's the dynamic between the coaches? Can you explain to us, like, what does a head coach do, and what's the job of an analyst, and the dynamic overall, and how it works, and especially in DV, since I think most Tunisian viewers are interested in knowing.
Yeah, sure. So in DV there is me, and then there is Memento Mori. Um, I am the head coach. He is the analyst. So basically, what I do is I work on finding new picks that we are looking to play. I do the drafting, and I coach the players individually and on a team level. So I will be like watching the scrims, and we'll be water viewing the games together. Memento does more like preparation and analytical work. Like he will be scouting enemy team and giving some feedback on some patterns and stuff that they may have and stuff like that.
Okay, nice. Uh, so you're the one that's drafting, and you're the one that's like watching the games and reviewing, and if I understood well, the analyst is like scouting the teams, the level ones and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have a question about LOL Arabia, the tournament, that the organization that's hosting the event, that's Riot Games in MENA. The Intel Arab Cup, for those that don't know, is a tournament that's being played right now, and it was played. There is split 1, split 2 after the teams qualified, and in split 2 it was almost always played on 10.22. That is the patch before pre-season, and then they decided to play the split 3 on the new patch. I just wanted to ask you, what's your opinion on this change, and do you think it was good? Do you think it's bad, since most teams practiced in the before the preseason patch that was also everyone kinda knew the meta. It was carry junglers. It was like also we had words to watch, so every team kinda had their own meta, and they practiced a lot on this patch. What's your thoughts on this topic?
I think it's one of the dumbest changes that I've had in my career so far. Like, it was so random. Um, every single team has been scrimming and practicing and studying the all patches,
Yeah.
right? So it's really weird. When they do changes like this, I think they should reach out to players or teams.
So did they not even tell you? Was it like really random, or was it like they asked you, and what's the reasoning? Like, did you guys try and understand what happened? Like, why it's so random for me? For example, I don't see what's their thought process. Was it like the bugs because of the client, or Can you
Um,
talk more about it?
I don't know why they did it. It wasn't completely random. They did tell us like a little bit, like they didn't confirm it. They just told us like basically like, hey, there is a possibility that we do it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know till like a week ago. So it's random. I think it's gonna suck more for the other teams than it is going to do for us. I think that I already have a really good grasp of the meta right now and of what's really happening right now. So it shouldn't be too hard for us to adapt, but for the others, it's gonna suck, of course. Like I, of course, still play the game. I play the game a lot, so I have a really good read on the meta right now. But it's mainly just annoying that it happens in this way, because if they wanted it this way, I think we could have known a month before.
Yeah.
Because a lot of players didn't even play solo queue, you know, like there is this in-houses going on where people are playing in the old patch and stuff. Everyone is scrimming in the old patch. It's hard to find scrims too in the new patch. Most of the people that are scrimming now in the new patch are just playing like for fun anyways. So it's a bit annoying.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think also it. Do you think it will change the power ranking of teams? I think it sucks for every team, but I kinda also think that you are a coach that plays a lot the game, unlike most coaches, because like you're a challenger slash grandmaster player. So do you think this will give you an advantage and maybe help DV like go beyond third place? Because for now, from what we've seen in regular season, the teams are pretty close, but Fox and especially Fox and GZ had kind of a better play overall. Do you think this will make it more chaotic, or do you think this will be to DV advantage since you're one of the coaches that plays the game a lot?
I think it's advantage for sure. I think that we may see some cheese here and there from certain teams and players. Maybe they get some wins or something from there, but I think it's going to be a lot on who adapts the best and which team has the coaching staff and players that are able to adapt the most.
Okay, that's pretty good.
For viewers, it's probably best this change. Like,
Yeah.
probably funny for the viewers, but yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about the format, like the thing about Split 1? I'm pretty sure you only started coaching DV in Split 2, but you kinda knew because we talked, I'm pretty sure you are friends with Fufo and me and a lot of players. So, what do you think of this Split 1, Split 2, Split 3? Don't you think it's a bit long, or what's your thoughts exactly? I don't want to give you my opinion, so it's up to you to tell me what's your opinion, since you played a lot. You coached LEC teams, right? You coached LCS. You've been around the scene for a long time. So what's your opinion on this?
I think that it's a little bit too long. It's basically like an LEC season.
Yeah.
Which I think is really bad for the types of players that are playing this tournament. Like, you have some people that are just playing for fun, right? And then you also have like some tryhards. It's really, really dangerous to have a long season like this when you're thinking about burnout. Because if you look at LEC and LCS, they have, I think, even shorter season than this. Maybe
For sure.
it's around the same. But they have like professional staff, like sports psychologists and stuff. You know, they actually like do this for a full-on living, right? So they can take breaks and stuff. So it's fine. But having this long of a season for people, like most of the players here are still working or studying, so it's for sure really, really weird. It would be better if they have shorter seasons, but more, you know, like I don't know, like 1 or 2 months and then a little break and then 1 or 2 months. I think it would also make the players even better because it would prevent burnout and stuff.
Okay, I totally agree with you. So on this topic, since you said it can make the players better and stuff, I want to ask you a question that I'm pretty sure and we can close the MENA topic with it. I'm pretty sure a lot of viewers are hyped for me to ask this question. So, which players like impressed you the most in MENA? Like, not even in EAC specifically. It can be, for example, player like San that's playing mid, but you know him as an ADC, or you watched him as an ADC. I'm pretty sure. Like, or from solo queue, which players like do you think have talent, and like which players you like the way they play, or you have high, like you have a good view on them and you think they have potential?
Yeah. So, of course, I'm not gonna talk too much about my team, but I think Seeker is really, really, really good. Yeah, Seeker is really, really good. Now, away from DV, I think San is for sure really good. I think Mirai is really, really good and learns really, really fast. I think Mimic is pretty good as well. I've coached some players from the MENA region, even though they aren't playing right now, like Wufu as well. I think is good. Has some attitude issues, but once he grows up, I think that Wufu can be really good, and he's also playing a role which there isn't that much talent in Europe, like top lane. I don't think it's a hard role to get into the scene with. So yeah, Wufu, Mirai, Mimic, San, Seeker, I think are really good players.
And do you think like how do you compare them to, like, let's say ARL players, like not the top players, because I know it's really stacked, especially leagues like LFL. We saw some rosters, it's really good. Like if you could put them in any region or any like standing team, where do you think they can belong, and which teams they can like be on? Like let's say for example EBL is not a very stacked league, except it's top heavy, right? So do you think they can be there, or do you think they can be on a low LFL team or French Div 2? And like I know the question is very weird, but how can they, like for those players you mentioned, how can they make it in ARLs, and how can they push their career over in European regional leagues?
Yeah, so like for who I think can make it, I can't really say for all of them because I haven't worked with them, right? But I've coached Mirai and Seeker, for example. Uh, I can for sure, these two players can for sure make it far. And yeah, for Sun and Mimic, they're also really, really good. There is a lot of players that aren't that great in other ERLs, so honestly, I think these players can make it. Another thing is that these players, the lowest ping that some of them have is 60. That's the lowest. A lot of them, as you know, right, play on like 100 ping.
Yeah.
So imagine if they move, right, and they live in now a gaming house. Not only do they have the team synergy buff, they also now actually have good ping. They can play at 20 ping. Like, I think players like, especially the AD carries, like Seeker, Mimic, Sun, imagine these players on low ping.
Yeah, for sure. That would be super interesting, actually. I
Like
also,
they're playing a mechanical role and they're already better than a lot of like ERL AD carries. So with lower ping, that would be really insane for them. The issue is just, I think, with this scene is the scouting part, because there's a lot of skill difference in some of these games, you know?
yeah,
So I think that some of like the team scouts and managers and stuff, when if they do look at these games and stuff, they may just say, yeah, but of course Mimic looks really good. Look, he's playing versus this and this and this, right? He's not playing versus good players. Um, so to make it into ERLs, I just think it's important that these players value solo queue a lot, which is something that somebody like Wufu hasn't really done, right? He's trolled a lot of games and been a bit toxic. So as long as you
especially.
take solo queue really seriously, make sure you have good LP and you're clean in solo queue, and make a good name for yourself, then I don't think it's hard for these players to make it.
Okay, so I think solo queue is really important, and
Yeah,
like,
it's giga important.
don't you think like networking or knowing people, the right people, is really important? Also, I feel like most meta players, let's
Yeah,
say,
but that comes
mhm,
from solo queue,
yeah, for sure,
right? Like
yeah,
that's where it starts from. Like you need a foundation, and that foundation is your solo queue. Like
yeah,
if I'm looking for a player, right? The first thing I will know about him is from solo queue, because I play the game. I play versus these players all the time, every day. So the first thing, my first impression, it won't be the main reason why I judge them, but the first thing that comes to mind is how are they in solo queue, because that's how I know them. So yeah, it's important. Networking and branding is super important in this scene, but that comes after solo queue.
okay. So everyone takes note. Solo queue is super important, especially that like a coach for, like yourself plays solo queue, so you can also experience firsthand and know like if they're good or not. So
Yeah,
I know,
and it also can tell
Mhm.
you some attitude and stuff,
Yeah.
because some players don't see solo queue as valuable practice, and I really disagree. I think that even in NA solo queue, there is a lot of things that you can learn. It's just all down to like what you are trying to learn and how you enter the game. Like what mindset are you entering the game? If you're entering the mindset of, oh, I'm gonna try to win this solo queue game, well then sure, it can be hard to learn. But if you know that you're bad at this and this and this, and you go into the solo queue game trying to work on these things, then that's really good. If you're playing a solo queue game as it's a competitive game, that's really good because you build good habits. And it's really easy to tell like who's really good players. Like if you look at somebody like Nemesis, he
Mhm.
plays a lot of his solo queue games as if it's a competitive game. Same thing with Reckless. They are tryharding really hard in solo queue. And that then transforms into stage play, right? They play very consistently well in stage games too. But then you have some players that just run it down in solo queue and just troll and say they're limit testing. These players waste a lot of their time.
So you think Wufo being known as the super Indian top laner is bad for him?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. And joking, just Wufo is my friend, so we always joke you, and he's special.
Bufu needs to remount on his bike in real life, I think.
Yeah,
Like, fucking blood.
but he's talented. Okay, so one last question about this topic, since we have a lot of Tunisian viewers. What's your expectation for DV, and like, do you think you can win it, and if so, how? And give us like overall your thoughts of top three for this tournament, and maybe any good words for the DV fans or any predictions, etc., for the ESC, and then I will ask you maybe about LEC, LCS if that doesn't, if you have time.
Sure, sure. I mean, for DV, like, I want to win, right? Like, I want to win everything. Anywhere I'm competing, I'm here to win, nothing else. Um, so, on the winning part, like, I expect us to win. I wouldn't join DV if I didn't think we could win. I wouldn't even be a part of this tournament if I thought I couldn't win it. So, winning is the goal, nothing else. Um, what was the rest of the question?
What do you think are DV strengths, and how can they win this tournament? Also, like, can you give us like your input, like how you see, like how do you, can you imagine the top three, like which teams will be in finals or semi-finals, your top four for the tournament, etc., and also what are DV strengths or something in
I
that.
think finals is going to be us and Fox.
Mhm.
I think we have the best bot lane in the entire tournament by far. I think that we have players that are really experienced. Like if you look at Galul and Gara, these players have been around for a long time. Gara even like role swapping, like that can help sometimes too. It can give some insight on mid lane and stuff. For sure, the best coaching staff. So only thing we need is to continue working hard and keeping motivated, and we will win.
Okay, great, great. I think that's great news for DV fans. So, in let's change subjects. I want to ask you, for example, for anyone that doesn't know, VeigarV2 used to coach Fnatic, and you also were part of TSM. What was your role exactly in TSM and Fnatic, if you can share with us? Like, and what's the job for that specific role?
Yeah, so basically the same as I've always done when I join teams and approach teams. The weird thing about this career is titles. Titles are really weird. Like every coach, like head coach, will be called head coach, but a lot of them do different things. Some are really good at drafting and the game. Others don't even know that much about the game, and it's more about team atmosphere and stuff. So I always tell teams that just give me whatever title you think is fitting, and I will just do my job. Um, which is basically the same that I do for TV, like drafting, draft preparation, individually coaching the players, giving feedback on macro and team play, coming up with new strategies, like for example, Garen Yumi bot lane or stuff like this, lane swapping top to bot, and all these kind of things. How you want to play with Herald and stuff like this. So that's basically what I've done. Like mid lane is of course my main role. Second main roles is support and jungle. So these are the 3 roles I like to work with the most. But I'm still fully capable of coaching everything else. But for example, for Fnatic and TSM, I would really work really hard with Bjergsen and Nemesis, and individually coach these players every day. Even if we didn't have scrims, we would still both review something or talk about stuff, and yeah, pretty much do like everything that is about the game.
I know it's hard to choose one player, but if you could choose one player from Fnatic and one player from TSM that you liked working with the most, or was like the one that left you like the biggest impression, or like helped you positively, you know? For example, a lot of people praise Bjergsen for being a really good teammate and etc. And do you think like those players have something special, you know, for on impact as on their team? For example, Reckless or Bjergsen, or like,
Yeah,
can you give us input on that?
I think Bjergsen is the best guy I've ever worked with, I think, in my career. When I joined, I of course have heard that he's been a great teammate, and it's for sure true. When he retired and became a head coach, I wasn't surprised at all, honestly. He was pretty much coaching together with me, right? He's a really smart player, really great guy. Second would be Nemesis. So both mid laners for TSM and Fnatic are really, really great people. It's really sad right now what's happening to Nemesis, but I'm sure he'll come back stronger.
Yeah, I think also Nemesis is a really talented player and he should have been on a top team for sure. But I think him going to Korea is. Do you think it's? I think it's a fine choice. It's better than going on a bottom team or like accepting
Yeah,
offers.
for sure. It's better than going from being on Fnatic to joining like some random bottom tier team for sure. It's also good for branding. You know, if he gets high elo in Korea, that's really good, and he can do some content with LS and Crowny and stuff like this. So it's gonna be fun, but I would like him to succeed. But of course, it's hard to do that right when he doesn't have me anymore.
Yeah, true, true. I agree. So, on that topic, before I ask you something that might interest a lot of people, so as far as I know, you didn't go to the team gaming houses or stuff. Does that impact your coaching? Do you think having that human like interaction, or is it fine since you started coaching when Corona pretty much became a thing, right? So I assume it was hard for you to travel with a team, or do you think it's fine to coach from a distance, or did you actually go to NA or to Berlin, or can you give us input like insight on that, or you prefer not to comment?
So I think that it depends what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. So I think a coach like Yamato Cannon has to be with the people in person. He does a lot of stuff like meditation and stuff like this, and being there in public with them is super important. For what I do, I'm mainly talking about the game. I think that some players likes a bit more personal contact, so being there IRL could benefit. But also some people just like to sit here and talk as friends, you know? Like just sit in a Discord call and review the game, like chill instead of having to go to a meeting room and would review it. I've pretty much always coached remotely. I've been in like boot camps, but I've except for that, I've always been coaching remotely. So for me, I think I do a better job remote than being there in person.
Okay, so you think it's pretty good for you, right? That's pretty good actually.
Yeah,
So,
I was gonna go to Fnatic, but then Corona happened, so I couldn't go.
okay, so on that topic, you said that Nemesis no longer have you, right? So can we assume that you signed with a pretty big team, like maybe LCS, LEC? You don't have to specify, but will we like see you on a good team? And if so, is there gonna be an announcement or not?
Yeah, there will be an announcement, and I will be on a good team for sure.
Okay, that's pretty big. Okay, so just one last question before I let you speak your mind and set you free. What do you think about LEC rosters and which ones impressed you the most? Do you think I saw a lot of fanatic fans like criticize a lot the moves? I think it's fine to criticize, but I also think Upset's pretty good, honestly. At least I played a lot of solo queue with him. If I got him 5 times, and I won every single game. I didn't have to do anything. I just pick Lulu and shield him, and if he's on enemy team, I can't hit any hook. So I think he's pretty good, at least from what I feel. So can you comment, like, what do you think about G2 roster, Fnatic roster? I think the rest are, like, do you have any dark horse or a team that will do better than most people think? Since we don't know a lot of rookies, especially I think people that don't play solo queue, they see SK lineup, they're like, what the fuck, who are those guys? They don't watch remasters, etc. So do you have any thoughts about it really quick? And then if you want to touch on LCS, I think the LCS went a new route with a lot of oceanic players, so even me or you, I think, don't know 100% like the players. So yeah, can you give us your thoughts
Yeah,
about LEC rosters, and which ones do you think are strongest, and which ones will do a surprise, for example?
I think first of all, I think let's talk about the two big ones, right? Fnatic and G2. So G2 loses perks, joining Cloud9, and what this means is they lose somebody who's been there from the start, and that players like Mickey X, Wonder will for sure be missing.
Mhm.
And this is gonna open a lot because the thing is, if you're a player and you had the option to join LEC or LCS and you weren't gonna be a part of G2, you weren't gonna win. You know, G2 would win everything. With perks being gone, this might change, and that's gonna be interesting because I think next time free agency happens, I think everything is gonna blow up. I think that a lot of new rookies will come in, and I think it's really good for the scene what just happened because G2 was pretty much holding Europe hostage. Um,
Yeah,
so that's really cool. I think G2, uh, I think Mickey X, Reckless, very, very insane. They have caps, right? So I still think
yeah,
they're going to win, but it's maybe a little bit more room for error there now. Fnatic, Niski is very good player. It's somebody that I have worked with myself, like individually. He's really smart and he works really, really, really well with jungle. He
okay,
is a worse laner than Nemesis for sure, but he is very, very good at playing around his jungle and what his teammates needs. So that is something that Selfmade probably will enjoy. Whippo is staying as top lane, I believe. It's really good as well. Um, so the real question mark is how will Upset do, right?
yeah,
Upset is a player that is really demanding. He's very good, and he's one of the few AD carries that are not even bad at macro. Um, so, but it's gonna be interesting how Upset and Selfmade meet. You know, how they are gonna clash together. If that goes well, I think Fnatic can win it.
oh, you think the roster is pretty stacked, so you don't
I
think
think if everything comes together, but that's a big if. You know, this is a big if. Some money is still on G2. Astralis is fucking doomed. Who else is
yeah,
playing? Mad Lions.
Mad
Carsey
Lions,
is really good. Them losing Shadow, I believe, right?
yeah, to
Shadow and
Ulyoya.
Orome. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. They're going again. Just full rookies, pretty
Yeah,
much. Carsey and Kaiser is one of the best bot lanes in Europe, so they might be able to carry. Rogue is having pretty much the same, but with Trimby. I think again, Wonder is kind of like perks for Rogue, where
mhm.
it's a lot of leadership skills, a lot of experience to calm the players down and make sure everybody's on the same page. Losing something like that is pretty sad, but Finn was not that great, but he was still like top 5, top
Yeah,
4 top laners in Europe. So will be interesting to see how their new top does.
and
Like I don't think that the difference between Odoam and Finn is that huge,
okay,
honestly. Mm, what other
SK
teams
maybe.
are there? SK.
Mm,
Well, I don't want to talk much about SK. I
okay,
have yeah, Tinks is a good friend of mine, and I'm
yeah,
happy
that's
to
what
see
I.
that he's in LEC,
Oh. Mm.
but I don't have big expectations. I think their mid laner is not the best player.
Okay, okay, that's spicy. So, who was their mid laner actually? Can you remind me?
Blue.
Blue. Okay, he used to be in
Yeah.
TCL, but I don't know him at all. So yeah, okay.
There's a lot of good mid laners in Europe that could be um, in mid instead. But
Okay.
I hope Tinks does well, but yeah, not the
Okay.
highest expectations there. There's 2 teams are missing, no?
Yep. There is probably Vitality, I think,
Yeah.
and who else?
Yeah, I think a good thing about Vitality is they have a very synchronized duo in bot lane. Comp and Labrov have played together a lot. Their coaching staff is pretty good. Mephisto is one of the best coaches in Europe. He's really, really smart guy and hardworking. Except for that, who else is in Vitality? Mid laner Militia.
Militia. Yeah.
It's kind of whatever. Jungle and top is... What is it?
Jungle and top for Vitality. It's Skins, and top laner is a new one. It's called I forgot his name, but he used to be on EU Masters winner team. Um, his name is
Well, I don't think no top laner can save that roster.
Siganda or something.
Yeah, Sigenda is good, but
Okay.
I don't think he can save that roster. I think maybe with time Vitality might be good, but I think there is... Like, I think Comp is a rookie that has a lot of potential, but he hasn't shown to fix his issues. He has some issues, like, for example, how he deals with waves later on in the game. That still hasn't been fixed, and he is a player with the example that I was saying earlier with how he takes solo queue. I see Comp a lot sit up at like 4 a.m. playing solo queue with Punisher 10 games in a row, right? They're just fucking around having fun. And it's fine to do sometimes, right? But it does it like almost every day.
Yeah.
So it adds up and becomes a lot of practice time wasted. So I think Vitality, SK are a bit doomed. Schalke, Broken Blade, great guy, really, really good. He didn't impress me too much at the start of my TSM journey, but he picked it up and became really, really, really good. Him and Gilius and Abedage all are really, really good friends. So I have high hopes for Schalke. I think he can do really well. Abe Faker turned into Faker, right? Once the Corona happened. So hopefully for him, it continues to be like online tournament or whatever, right? Like where they're playing online. So then he can continue to win. Their bot lane is Neon and stuff, right?
Neon and Limit.
Yeah, Limit is really good, and he has learned a lot from Crown Shot. So hopefully they can continue that. As long as Senna is meta, I think Schalke will do great because they can play through Broken Blade.
Yeah. Oh. And there was, if I'm not wrong, Excel. By the way, I played once in a tournament versus Patrick and in solo queue, and I think he's pretty good. What do you think about Excel? I think very mid laner, at least for me, that could be a good roster for Nemesis, but probably Nemesis wouldn't wanna play on that team. But don't think their mid laner was the best pickup. There was leader that I think is better. I don't. You don't have to say your opinion on it, obviously. But what do you think of Excel overall?
Patrick is good for sure. I think Patrick could have been in a different team. Who is Excel's mid laner?
It's Rogue Academy mid laner.
Who?
He's the EU Master winner guy. I don't know his name. How to pronounce?
Chocolate?
Chocolate, yeah.
Or something?
Yeah. He's Polish, I think.
Yeah. Patrick has to do some heavy lifting on Excel, I think.
Okay.
Do they still have Ture as support?
Yeah, they have Tore, Patrick, Chocolate, and they have Dan, Fnatic Academy that played
they
once.
lost Cadril too.
Yeah, they lost Kaidrel, I think. It's pretty big loss.
The interesting question mark there is how is Patrick and Ture going to guide Chocolate and Dan? Dan is he's one of the players that are really, really smart about the game, but I always feel like he is a better coach than a player.
Okay.
Because his strengths, I think, are better in a coaching stuff than as a player.
Okay. That's pretty good insights. So, do you wanna go over LCS real quick, or do you wanna go and give like any last words, or you wanna talk about LCS? It all depends of your time. Like if you can
Yeah,
give
I have
Mhm.
time.
Okay.
LCS is interesting. Like about the whole OPL, the Oceanic League, being like blown up is opening a lot of different things for LCS. The huge changes is of course Doublelift and Bjergsen retiring, right? And what
Yep.
does this mean? I don't know if it's public yet what Doublelift will be doing.
He said he will be retiring. That's it,
Yeah,
I think.
but what he will be doing after, we don't know, right? So,
Yeah.
but Bjergsen will be head coaching, which is gonna, at least for mid lane, teach a lot for Power of Evil. Power of Evil is the best mid laner in NA when it wasn't like back when Bjergsen was playing. Him and Bjergsen was the best in my opinion, and then Jensen.
Yeah.
Because I think that sure, Power of Evil had weaknesses, but this was weaknesses that you could draft around and fix, and then he would just be a good player. But I think that whoever is filling Doublelift shoes has a lot of things to show.
And what do you think about like? I think we know pretty much every LCS roster. We don't wanna go over all of them. I think LCS is a kind of league where I think there is a big three, what we call them at least, Team Liquid, C9, and TSM. So, what do you think about TL lineup since it's pretty stacked, right? And you also know most players. I would think since you coached TSM, you know tactical Core GG and Jensen obviously, and also you know Alfari from coaching Fnatic. I guess you saw him play. I remember you did the level 1 invade on Alfari. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember it was your strat, so I'm pretty sure you watched this player a lot, right?
I think Alfari is the best top lane in Europe, just in terms of consistency. He did everything that he had to do basically. He could have done a little bit more, and it sucks to lose him and for him to go to NA. I think Perks joining Cloud9, like Cloud9 looks really, really insane. Like Perks, Swen, great synergy, good friends there. So they should do pretty well. Team Liquid, I think, like roster wise, Team Liquid is of course insane, but it's really close between TL and Cloud9.
And where does TSM fit in this? Do you think,
Third or
since you're,
fourth.
okay, so it's not biased here, it's only the truth with Mr.
Yeah.
Veigar V2. Yeah. Do you have any idea if they announced? I'll check. They said they'll do an announcement, but I guess it's not now. But let's hope they have a good bot lane because I think they have Impact, right? And Spica, which I think Spica was pretty good. And also Power of Evil. So if they have a decent bot, I think they can be top 3 and maybe try for second. Okay, so I don't wanna like waste too much of your time. Like, do you have any last words? And I saw in the chat a lot of people were asking how can I be a good analyst, or do you have any tips for people that are looking into coaching, analyst, and like coaching stuff overall? And any last words for the viewers, etc. You can go ahead.
Sure. I think, like I said earlier, titles in League is really XD, right? So when you say, how can I be a better coach or how can I be a better analyst, right? What does that mean? Like analyst, you can be a data analyst, which is like giving stats and stuff, or you can be like a presentation kind of analyst, or like it's so much things, right? So you need to be more specific. But I think if you are playing the game right now and then you want to do coaching, you shouldn't quit playing the game. Yeah, I think it's really important to play the game as a coach. And it's good that people are kind of listening to that now. We will see a lot of players start to retire and turn into coaches, which I think is great because then we can get away from all these people that are coaching that don't know anything about the game. Because I don't think, right? Like, of course, I'm the smartest person in the world, right? So
Uh-huh.
I know a lot, but I don't think it's needed. I just think you need to be able to know some things about the game, right? I don't think that a coach has to be smarter than his players, but just so he can relate, I think is important. Because it's a bit cringe sometimes when a coach Like his like bot lane, right? Is saying this matchup is so unplayable, I can't do this and this, and the coach can't even relate. You know, there's no clue what they're talking about. So
Right.
I think it's important you play the game. Except for that, you just have to keep working, right? Coaching is a full-time job. Like a player job is not full-time. You can just not play the game and you're literally not working. As a coach, you don't have a break. So it's a commitment, right? Like if I'm taking a shower, I'm thinking about the game, you know? If I'm taking a walk outside, I'm thinking about the game. When I'm trying to sleep, I'm fucking dreaming about drafts and stuff. And like there is no break in coaching. So it's a commitment and you need to be committed.
Okay, that's pretty deep. Some people are asking, do you coach coaches? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
I
Okay.
coach players. I have coached a lot of coaches on how to coach, which is basically like they will show me, like we will go over a coaching session that they've done, and I will give pointers and stuff and feedback.
Okay, that's pretty bug. Also, as a last thing, can you tell us like where can people find you for people that wanna get coaching, for people that wanna follow you on Twitch, on Twitter? Like I know you have a Patreon, for example. So can you
Sure.
hook the viewers up? Like where if I wanna get coaching, if I wanna like watch your streams, like can you
Yeah.
say what you can offer for them? Yeah.
For coaching, you guys can just go to my website, VeigarV2.com. For my Twitter, Veigar_V2. If you still want to get better at the game but you can't afford coaching, you can always go to my Patreon, which is just VeigarV2. For $10 there, you can get over 300 coaching session videos from like every single role. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you very much for the interview, Mr. Veigar.
Thank you
It
for
was
having me.
really dope interview. Yeah, I hope people enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. So, I think see you guys. I hope you enjoyed the stream or the interview.